This is a 1953 Cadillac Eldorado. This car matters because it's the only Cadillac Eldorado in 1953 modified by General Motors to be supercharged. This was a gentleman's hot rod, and it was very fast on its own. But the gentleman that ordered this vehicle, Mr. Alexander, was a World War I ace. And he wanted to order one of these Eldorados, but it didn't come fast enough for him. So his best friend, Mr. Burnell, head of Cadillac engineering at the time, said, we can make this work. And so they put together a plan, they designed out how they were going to supercharge it. People would stop and stare at a vehicle like this coming down the road. You were lucky to ever even just get to see one. Everything about this vehicle is as born. These are true knockoff wheels. That's what holds the wheel on. You actually use a hammer and a piece of wood and you whack it on, thus the name. Dual exhaust, very subtly shown in the rear bumpers. You almost don't even see it. At the time, Cadillac, when you got the gold emblems on the vehicle, it denoted it was a V8. The quarter panel is actually bolted on the vehicle, but it still sets it off with that little piece of trim, and I absolutely love that. Now this is what really sets the men from the boys, is the supercharger package that was put on by Mr. Burnell and Cadillac Engineering. Underneath the hood, this is a Cadillac 331, but highly modified with a big supercharger on top. What's most amazing, again, is how they balance the exhaust. Most people will slam a supercharger on an engine, put a set of headers on, and run it out the back. With all of the aircraft experience that Mr. Alexander had, they thought ahead and they actually ran the exhaust around underneath the engine so you have the cylinders balanced. It's definitely a piece of art. This particular 53 Cadillac Eldorado is called Azure Blue, and that was one of the limited colors that you could order. For the most part, this is a stock 1953 Cadillac Eldorado interior with the two-tone color. They had several options for the interiors. Power windows, 1953, would you think? Yes, absolutely functional and amazing. If you look at the instrument cluster, those are all aircraft gauges, right down to an hour gauge, which you have on all aircraft engines. On the steering wheel, it's a self-winding clock. So as you drive and turn the wheel, it keeps itself functional and running and going. So a lot of subtle details. So at first glance, it looks like kind of a strange Cadillac Eldorado, but once you learn the story and start getting into it, it is really something special. I'm Holly Smith, and this car matters.